Marketing Manager at Jellyfish, and Zoe and myself will be running through the session with you today. So I know that this is the beginning of a series of really good sessions with a lot of different people. And so today, just so you know what we'll be going through is you won't be hearing as much from me as you will from Zoe. I'm going to just do a bit of an introduction to the concepts behind marketing in a digital world and how this can relate to your business, and just hopefully get you sort of thinking in a different way and helping you to prioritize. As I said, there's obviously a lot of sessions coming up where there'll be a lot of really good detailed information. So today I'm just going to get your mind thinking in a digital way. And Zoe can introduce herself, but she'll be focusing on talking to you a bit about social media, which is obviously really a really great tool for small businesses. But Zoe, if you just want to introduce yourself quickly.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Zoe. I'm a senior paid social manager at Jellyfish. And yeah, as Kate mentioned, I'll be talking through the social media section. And yeah, super excited to be here and to chat to all of you.
Thanks, Zoe. So let's kick it off. If you can go to the first slide for me, please. So as I said in my introduction, it's not about digital marketing. It's about marketing effectively in a digital world. And I think if you come back to this concept throughout the whole course, just keep this in mind. I think marketing used to be something that there was a specific division. It was something different that companies did. But if you think about yourself as a consumer, you know that you live in a digital world. If you just look at your phone now, how much of your day-to-day is managed through your phone. Speaking for myself, I have Spotify on my phone, which I listen to podcasts. It gives me song recommendations. I have my banking app on my phone. I've got my calendar. I've got my work communications. If this call drops on my laptop, which it could do because, sometimes Wi-Fi in South Africa is not great, I will then switch over to this call on my phone. If I'm out shopping, I'll look at my phone. If I want to know what the closest coffee shop is to me, I'll look at my phone. All of the decisions that we make as consumers, we utilize digital methods to make our decisions. We connect with friends. We find out where we are, what we want to do, what we can access. We find information, we get entertainment, all via these digital means. And so the purpose of thinking about marketing in this way, marketing in a digital world, is that you need to really be present in those moments when people are looking for certain things. If you can go to the next slide, please, Zoe. So really, what I want us to focus on, because there's so much to think about when it comes to digital marketing and marketing in a digital world. And depending on, I don't know about the size of your business or what your budgets look like, but I do know that it doesn't matter how big the budget. It could be a really big brand, a really big organization, or someone that's really just starting up, has a good product to offer and wants people to be able to find them. The full spectrum of people need to make decisions about what they spend their time and energy and marketing budget on. So, there's never an unlimited budget. People always have to make decisions about where they spend their money so that they can fulfill what they need to fulfill in terms of their marketing. And I know that, it can be quite overwhelming making those decisions. And so what I want you to keep in mind is the word helpful. So in terms of your efforts, are they helpful to your consumers? And also, as importantly, are they helpful to you and to your business? So, there's a lot of flashy things you can do in digital marketing. You can spend a lot of time making something look really beautiful and come up with a really clever catchphrase, or, you think you need to be on every single social media platform. But every single decision that you're confronted with, be it budget or which platform you're on or where you should be or how you should do things, come back to the question of, um, is it going to be helpful? Is it going to be helpful for my consumers to find out more about me, to find out how to buy from me, to find out how to contact me? And is it going to be helpful for my business? Is spending, 50,000 Rand on new logo design, or 50,000, whatever your currency is. I think we might have a spread of people around Africa today. Um, is that money going to be as helpful as something else? And I think that for digital marketing, it's really key to keep that front of mind so that you don't get overwhelmed and that you can make good decisions and you can sort of be honest about where you're at. Businesses are always at different stages, and you need to make different decisions about where you spend not only your money, but also your time. If you run a small business, you don't have a lot of time. I can almost 100% guarantee that small business owners don't have a lot of time, because one minute you're trying to figure out Facebook marketing, the next minute you're trying to pay invoices or chase up payments, or you're trying to actually make the product that you're making. So you don't have a lot of time. So that's why you need to be brutal about your decision making and to not get overwhelmed by the amount of options that there are available to you in digital marketing. Because the truth is that digital marketing has democratized or made marketing more accessible to small businesses. You couldn't have afforded as a small business to run a TV advert, for example. Whereas with digital marketing, you actually have the opportunity to access a broad market with a small budget, which is really exciting. But at the end of the day, it can be overwhelming because now you have so many options, because potentially the world has been opened up for you with digital marketing. So again, just keep the word helpful at the center of all of your decision-making processes. What will be helpful for you as a business, and what will be helpful for your consumers. Next slide, please, Zoe. So just kind of going back to the way things that have changed, speaking about marketing in a digital world, consumers have much more choice and comparison now. So this stat says that 46% of online shoppers want more product comparisons from e-commerce sites in order to be able to find the right product. I know that I could be shopping in a big shopping center looking at TVs. There's no way I'm just going to make a decision based on what I have available to me in that shop in that moment. I will go online on my phone in the shop and I will Google Samsung TV 30-inch price range, and I'll look at reviews, or while I'm standing in the store. Maybe I'll buy it from the store, but I want to get that information. I want to make sure that I'm getting the best deal possible. And the thing is that I have access to that information. So then on to information. So 97% of shoppers read online reviews before making a purchase, and the average B2B purchase decision is 57% complete, and more than 10 information sources have been consulted by the time the supplier is engaged. So that means before you even get to have a conversation with your consumer, they've already done a lot of research about you. And Zoe will go into more detail about how that might look on things like social media and why that's important. But really speaking, from looking at on reviews to the sort of the e-commerce site, to looking at your Facebook page, looking at how you've responded to people, looking at how your information is collated on your site, there's a lot of information that your consumers already know about you before they even interact with you directly. And then just back to this point of the dual experience, 35% of people carry their phones whilst shopping in store to compare prices. So all that is to say is that consumer behavior has changed, and we need to make sure that we are present in the right moments and in the right way for our consumers as they meet up with us. And that's really at the core of marketing. Digital marketing. Marketing used to be very much about the message that you pushed out to people, what you told them about you. And now it's about being present and available in the moments when they are trying to either find out information about you or trying to find out information about the products that you offer. And next slide, please, Zoe. So just to sort of as I said, I wouldn't take up too much time, and I think I've already spoken quite a lot. But I just wanted to share with you in my experience, the, my top 4 recommendations for how you should focus your time. Of course, this is really dependent on what your business is, what your industry is, what products you sell. But overall, these are my top 4 recommendations. So number 1 is use smart solutions to maximize your business. 2 is utilize email marketing. 3 is define your search strategy. And 4 is maximize social media. So just to briefly go into more detail on some of those aspects, next slide, please, is number 1, talking to smart solutions. So a lot of the time we think that we need to be a developer or hire a developer to build a website for us or to be able to transact online. And the truth is that as much as the world has changed for the consumer, the world has also changed for the marketer. There's so many options that can enable online transactions and online interactions that make life easier for your consumers and for you. And there's just a couple of examples here. So Wix is a website building tool. I know for a fact that you don't have to be a developer to use Wix and to build your own website. So if you don't have a website, that's really important. You know, how are people going to find you in a digital realm if you're not online, if you don't have a website, if they can't have a chance to interact with you online? And then just some other ideas is things like Intercom. So Intercom is a tool that you can integrate with your website, and it enables really good customer management. And it also helps customers find things about you on your website that they're searching for. So it has really smart sort of Q&A technology. You can also set up automations that have pop-ups that say like, hey, we see you've been on this page for a while. Do you need some help? We have some people online to chat to you and to give you the advice that you need. Alternatively, here's an article that explains a bit more about our process. So it's really clever the way that it reads consumer behavior and it gives them information at the time that it needs it. And again, it's very simple. This is not something that you need to have extensive development skills to be able to implement on your site, but it can make a huge difference driving the right consumer engagement with your sort of digital assets. And then on the last image is of Uber Eats. So just in case anyone's in the restaurant industry, Uber Eats is another way that people find location-specific options for themselves. Yes, I know that there are some issues with things like Uber Eats and Mr. Delivery in terms of the cost markups and things. And so just take this with a pinch of salt. All I'm saying is that there's other platforms that you can also use to get your business out there, almost like directories. The modern day directories are things like Uber Eats. Maybe someone's never tried your restaurant before. They're on Uber Eats and there's a special that pops up in your area. Why don't you pop a little handwritten note in their bag as they get it that says, hey, next time, you know what, you can order from us directly. There's lots of ways that you can leverage these online tech and tools to get your name out there. That doesn't sort of break the bank. You don't need to already have the huge budget and get funding and all these things. There's a lot of really smart ways that you can use technology to serve your business and to serve you. Next slide, please. And then just a note, kind of connected to the website side of things, is you need to utilize email marketing. For obvious reasons, email marketing is free. And as a small business, budget is a big concern. So make sure that you are driving people to sign up to hear from you, which you can do via social media. You can also do on your website with a nice pop-up as people are visiting your page, sign up to hear from us. There's a lot of really good tools that are free, especially at a beginner level. So for example, MailChimp, up until a certain user amount, MailChimp is free. So I really recommend that you push into using email marketing. And then the last point might seem obvious, but it's not always obvious, is that you actually need to email people. If you've driven them to sign up to hear from you, you need to make sure that you are emailing them, that you're letting them know about your product launches, that you have a steady, consistent stream of information that you're sharing with them so that you remain front of mind. You've already won the hardest part of the battle, which is getting them to find out about you and sign up to hear from you. That's really the most difficult part. Now you need to just use that captive audience to connect with them and to sell your products. Next slide, please. And then lastly, or second to last, just to create a search strategy that works for you. So this can be paid search and organic search. If you don't already know about paid search and organic search, you will hear in much more detail about those things from the upcoming sessions. But just to say, you have to be there in the moments that matter to your customers. So these moments is actually a Google thing that they launched, talking about these various different moments where you need to be present for your consumers. So there's I want to know moments, I want to go moments, I want to do moments, and I want to buy moments. And you need to make sure that your brand is represented in those moments when people are looking for certain things. So next slide, please. Speaking first of I want to buy moments, you can see here that this is someone looking for a bed for sale, and this brand the Mattress Warehouse, I think is the one that we were referencing here, does show up in a Google ad. So that's paid section there. It also shows up on the right-hand side, which is Google Shopping. And so that brand is present in the moment where someone is looking to buy something. And it's really important that you keep that in mind, that you are findable in those moments. Next, please. And this is one of my favorite ones. So I want to go moments. And the reason it's one of my favorites is because this can be really well managed through Google My Business, which again is free. So making sure that you are really good about keeping your Google My Business up to date with your information, with your opening and closing times, with a link to your website, with your contact details, with your location. And if you want to get really, more fancy, with really nice images, it's also where reviews for you will be displayed. And as an example, I recently moved to Johannesburg, and it's a new city for me, and I really love yoga, and I live in a certain area, and I went onto Google Maps and I typed in yoga studios near me, and I found 3 different yoga studios. I'm sure there's probably 10 yoga studios in the area, but the only ones I could find were the ones that had this information up to date, because they were there for me in that I want to go moment. And again, this is something it's almost just like a digital hygiene thing. Are you making sure your information is accessible and up to date? Doesn't have to be fancy. It's just about providing people with helpful information in the moments that they need it. Next, please. This is also a very cool one. So I want to know moments. So this is more like people doing a bit of exploratory research. And this is where you have your content that's a blog post that's sort of explaining more about your brand, more about what differentiates you. So this is where it would be helpful to have kind of comparison articles, and it's a fun type of content to develop, and it's kind of an upper funnel bit of content. And then next up, I want to do moments. So in the case of the bed, how to sleep well at night, it could be, in my case, how to do at-home yoga. What if I did that as a Google search, and then the local yoga studios had an article on how to do at-home yoga, and on their website they said, oh, but by the way, we also have a studio in these locations, and we have an online studio. And that's then me kind of converted as a customer, because they were there in that I want to do moment for me. Next up. And lastly from me, is to maximize your use of social media. Again, remember that social media is free unless you do paid social media. And it's a really excellent way to broaden your reach and to reach consumers that otherwise might not have known about you. But at that point, I'm going to actually hand over to Zoe, as she's our social media specialist, and she's going to take you through some more in-depth understanding of social media. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kate. So hi again, everyone. As Kate mentioned, I'll be taking you through an introduction to social media. So just first to kick off, the social landscape has just changed so much over the past few years. I mean, I still remember creating a MySpace profile back in the day, and now we're sitting here with all these different platforms that serve all these amazing different purposes. So, I mean, we have Facebook, which is just our mass reach, Twitter, which is where so much of the conversation happens, We have TikTok, which is known for their immersive experiences. And it's also been a platform that has grown exponentially, especially over this lockdown and pandemic period. Then we have Instagram, which is such a visual platform where everyone posts amazing imagery the whole time. Snapchat, which is a millennial and more of a Gen Z reach platform, but it's a hard to reach audience, so it's great to reach them there. Pinterest is the place where people go to get inspired. And then LinkedIn is the professional platform where you network and engage with people in the same fields as you. So I know it can be quite a bit overwhelming to look at all these platforms and just think, as a business, maybe you think I should be on every single platform, which is definitely not the case. And I think a lot of these platforms, you need specific content to be on the different platforms, and each of them serve, as I mentioned, a different purpose. So I think I'll break this down a bit further and make it a bit more easier to digest. But I think when we do think of social media, it needs to be broken down into two sections. And the first section is organic social. And what organic social is it's you posting on your different platforms. So it can be you posting on Twitter, posting on LinkedIn, posting on Facebook. So for an example here, I've got a tweet that Nando's posted, a post that LinkedIn, Visa did on LinkedIn. So this is just you posting on your platforms, engaging with your communities, and just speaking to the people that follow your brand on a regular basis. And why is this so important? So organic social really humanizes your brand. It makes your brand accessible to the everyday consumer. People are actually able to talk to you. People are able to see your tone of voice, what you offer to them. And it's important in a way that it helps you to build trust with your community. So if you have that voice and you are speaking to people on a regular basis, people start to trust you. You become more of a friend than a brand that's just you're not able to speak to. And then it's also important in the way that it creates brand advocates. So people that follow your organic social content and post and comment on all of your different content will become brand advocates and will love everything that happens around your brand. Will follow post updates, will follow business changes. So they'll become little advocates for your brand, which is incredible. And I think why this trust is so important is a really interesting fact is that 60% of consumers who complain on social media expect a response within the hour. So there's an example on the side here from Discovery where this person said at 12:30 I urgently need assistance. So people are expecting you to come and pick up the phone at that exact time that works for them and deal with their complaint or their issue or whatever that may be. So that's why it's really so important to have a structure in place of how you're going to respond to various comments or to even various complaints. So you have this process that if something like this will arise or if you will see comments, everyone knows how to respond or you know how to take these complaints on. So just in summary, why organic social is really important is your channels are who you are. They're your brand voice, they're how you speak to your community. And it also just ensures that your page is up to date and it shows people that you're active, that your business is changing, it's evolving, it's still open, especially during COVID times. I think it's been so important for businesses to speak to their people and we've seen now in the restaurant business, guys, we know we're still closed, but please come get your deliveries from us or pick up curbside. Businesses have been adapting, which is incredible. And then I think just to communicate with core engagers in your community on a regular basis. So as I've mentioned, the more you speak and the more you engage with those brand activists, the more you're going to create people who love your brand and are loyal to your brand. And then just customer service and community management. So when you get those complaints, just have a set way of responding, deal with those complaints, and just make sure that there's a process to get that customer happy and back on board with your business again. So I think just to summarize all of this in the organic social space is, if you haven't got a Facebook or an Instagram page already, I would say the best place to get started is to start there, to fill in that information, to get a profile photo, get a cover photo, write a blurb about your business. It's all quite intuitive, and there's quite a few instructions out there on how to complete your pages. So, get that updated. Develop those processes for community management. How are you going to be responding to people in your brand voice? Build your content plan and bring editing and posting to perfection. So build and map out your content plan for either a month or even 3 months, so that you don't kind of get to a Wednesday and think, oh, what should I post today? Just to make sure that your content is really, it's relevant, it's planned, and that also just takes the stress off your business, so you can focus on things that are actually important to your business. And then again, as I've mentioned, just to get engaged with your community, especially as a small business, your community and your following are so important. So just to give them the attention that they need. And then the second section of social, so now we've just done organic social, which is all about posting on your own various platforms. And now the second section is paid social. And how this looks is, these are all sponsored posts that people put money behind. And for example, you can see on this Pampers tweet at the bottom there, it has a little promoted note. Under the Visa LinkedIn post, it also has promoted. So these are all targeted ads. And they all have money put behind them. It's serving a specific objective and a specific purpose. And why is this so important? So I think you could possibly be thinking, I can post to people on my pages. I'm talking to them on my pages. What is the purpose of me putting money behind this and reaching a larger audience? So it is really great in the way that it's super targeted. We can expand our audience, and not all our content is relevant to all our followers. Another great thing about paid is, whatever your business objective is paid allows you to really align with that and to optimize for that. So it fulfills that function. And something that is also important to note is, organic social reach on Facebook has been in decline since 2013. So the Facebook algorithms have been changing. So they've started to prioritize your family and your friends' posts above brands' posts and brand content. So what that means is that you will need to have a mixture of organic and paid social just to be able to reach your audience, based on the fact that organic reach has been declining. So the best way to get into paid social, and the best way to start, I would say, would be to get onto Facebook Business Manager. It is a really user-friendly platform. There are a lot of help forums out there. And I just think it is the best way to start, and especially considering the South African market, a lot of people in South Africa and in Africa are on Facebook as the main platform. So I think it's a great place to get learnings, a great place to test, and a great place to expand from here. So the 3 ways that you can use Facebook Business Manager is, you can add an agency or a marketing partner to this platform to help you to manage your business. Or if you have a freelancer, or maybe you have a friend who is in paid social, who can jump on this platform for you and support you. And then you're able to manage your assets, such as your Facebook page, your Instagram profile, and your ad accounts. And you're also able to run and track your ads all within the same place. So I like to view it as kind of a hub for your Facebook and your Instagram activity. And this is your business asset. So these assets and these pages, your following, your brand is so important. So it needs to be owned by you as a business. So if one day you get to the point where you're able to outsource digital marketing and paid social to another agency, you will give that agency access to your business manager, and then you still own your asset. So I think that is definitely the best way to manage that. And then just going into how the navigation panel on Business Manager looks. So there are a lot of options there. You're able to plan your campaigns, get insights of who your audience is. the create and manage section, which is ads manager, and where you actually run your ads, commerce manager, where you can build your Facebook shop, measure and reporting, which is where you can implement a pixel on your website so you can optimize for actual business sales on your website, assets, so putting your images, putting your videos up there, building your audiences, and the settings section is just where you invoice and you do all of your billing. So I know there's a lot going on here, and it's definitely a platform that takes a lot of time just to navigate and to get used to. But I definitely think the best way to get familiar with this is just to start. So go to business.facebook.com, create an account for yourself, link your Instagram and your Facebook profiles, create an ad account, and just start testing. Start playing on the platform, start seeing where things are, visit those help forums, and just take it from there. As they say, the best place to get going is just to start. And as a summary and kind of in conclusion, is organic and paid social really need to live together to generate the best results for your various businesses. And a summary again, just of what these two elements of social are, is organic is really the place where you engage with your community and you engage with your business following. And it's a really relevant place for you to talk to the people that already love and already follow your business. Paid social is a place to expand your business for your business objectives, but there are downsides in the way that it can sometimes be viewed as inauthentic and disruptive. However, it is also very targeted and personalized. So thank you. I think that's everything from me, and I hope these tips were valuable to you and to your businesses. And I think we now will hand over to, we'll kick off with the Q&A section.
I think we already have one on the chat, Zoe. So it's, hi, is YouTube classified as social media? How can it be used as a marketing tool? I don't know if you want to answer the question about whether or not it's social media, and I've got some ideas to share on that. But yeah, what do you think, Zoe?
So I would say that it can be classified as social media in a certain way, but from an advertising perspective, it lives in a different place. So it does provide a different function, but I'll probably let Kate add a bit more to that too.
Yeah, so if you do advertising on YouTube, it's actually, or can be run through Google Ads or through DV360. So as Zoe was saying, sort of it living in a different place. But in terms of the fact that it's social, it's about sharing, it's about following certain people, brands, or things. It's about liking and engaging with certain content. So in that way, yes, it's social. In terms of how it can be used for marketing, so you'll remember in the beginning when I spoke about all the different moments, the search moments. For one thing, YouTube is also a search tool. So I was just thinking today that I want to learn a specific digital skill. And I was thinking, well, I'm being so silly. I must just go onto YouTube and search, how to optimize my Google Slides presentations. And I'm sure there's loads of videos with people teaching me that. And perhaps they did free content on YouTube, but they're actually from a company that provides graphic design training, for example. And now they can market to me because now I've found them on YouTube. So YouTube is a search engine for video-based content, which I think makes it really exciting for those moments of like how to do, especially. I mean, I don't know about you all, but when I bought a new office chair, and I wanted to go onto YouTube and say, I'm terrible with putting practical things together. And the instructions that they gave me on the piece of paper in the box of my office chair, which I had to build from scratch, was terrible. It was like these pictures and it was old. And I was like, I'm sure that maybe there's this brand on YouTube and I can go onto YouTube and search, dummy's guide to putting together the office chair. So that's the sort of how-to moments, but YouTube's also really good for branding moments, for people to find out more about you as a company. I was very surprised chatting to some new staff members at Jellyfish, the company that Zoe and I work for. And they said that one of the things they did when they were figuring out whether they liked the company culture of Jellyfish was that they spent a lot of time on the Jellyfish YouTube channel looking at our videos to try and get a sense of, you know, who you were. And that's a branding exercise. So you have all this owned content, that's all free. It's not like we paid to put our videos on YouTube. And it was in its own way, an internal marketing tool. So there's lots of ways that YouTube can be used as marketing, and it really depends on what your needs are and what your product is. So yeah, that's that one. That's great. So does anyone have any other questions they want to bring up? Otherwise, you know, I can ask some questions of you all. But I just wanted to check first. Yeah, is there anything else you want to unmute and ask verbally or put it in the chat? Everyone feeling a little shy? Okay, so I'm going to have to ask some specific questions. So first of all, I'd love to know what industries you all work in. Do you own your own businesses? Are you a student? If you own your own business, what is your product? What do you do? This is your time, everyone.
Should we start with, sorry, Kate, should we start with FineStat?
Yeah, FineStat, I'm sure, is not your name.
Yeah,
it's your company name, right? So
yes.
Yeah, go ahead, introduce yourself. That would be lovely.
Thank you. My name is Samuel Jima. I'm joining you from Kenya, Nairobi, the capital city of the country.
Yes, I've been to Nairobi. Lovely.
Wow, thank you. I'm in research and data management. I do consultancy in that area. I do training of staff in organizations and also do surveys, clinical research. Yeah, that is the industry that I work in. I run this industry with 2 other colleagues. So it's a small company of 3 people. Yes.
Nice. And how long have you been operating for?
Since October 2017.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any specific kind of digital challenge that you'd like to ask us about? You've got a captive audience here.
Yeah, the issue of visibility, being visible online, because that is where customers are, but you don't have the know-how of tapping in that power. And that is why I got excited when I saw this training by Jellyfish. I thought I would find an opportunity to tap into the bigger market. So visibility is my really problem. Yeah.
And what are you currently doing for your visibility?
I have a page on LinkedIn and also on Facebook. And I was considering a YouTube. That's why I asked the question on whether it is worthy going that direction. Yeah.
Okay, great. So something off the top of my head is you obviously already have some customers, some clients.
Yes.
And a really good way to leverage that is to ask them to be more present on your social pages. So ask them, if you have a good relationship with them, can they leave you a review? Can they share your page? Because that's kind of like it's word of mouth, but it's a lot of the time people are happy with your business. They're actually also happy to support it in ways like sharing your social pages, leaving you a review. So that's a really simple way to start in terms of visibility. If, you know, obviously if you have the budget to put some money behind paid social approaches, that's great. But if you don't, there's also kind of more simple ways to get your brand exposed. And to your YouTube question, I think, you know, if I understand what you do correctly, since you do training, it would be really nice to just do some simple, really helpful short videos on YouTube. And then the nice thing is you could share those videos on your sort of Facebook page, for example, because videos work really well on social media. And then, you know, if someone is doing research about you on YouTube, you'll have some content there. And there's also then a chance that if they're searching for something on YouTube, they might come across you. And that's your way of sort of talking about your brand to someone who otherwise wouldn't have known about it. So they're searching for a specific tip on how to do a specific aspect of research. And they happen to find your video, and then all of a sudden they know about Find Stat Data Solutions, you know.
Yes.
So I think it would be great. Zoe, I don't know if you have any other tips on that.
No, I think that's a brilliant place to start. I like the idea of creating a series of videos as well. I think that'll work really nicely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know if I really need equipment. You know, I've never done a video, or do I need an expert to do video shooting and editing for that kind of a rollout, or what would be the really advice on that?
It's a really good question. I'm glad you brought that up. In my opinion, you don't. I think there's a lot you can teach yourself. Again, just think about, with everything, think about how you are also the consumer, right? So you can also use YouTube. If I was you, I'd type in best way to make my own video on YouTube and watch a video. You're on a video call right now, you know, so you can record yourself via your laptop. If you want to get fancier and you know, cut in an introduction and animation and all that stuff, for one thing, you can teach yourself how to do that. But for another thing, then at a certain point when it takes off, you could ramp up your efforts. But I think it's really important in digital marketing. It's this concept of minimum viable product, you know, an MVP. You don't need to start off perfect. I used to be involved in an education tech startup, and I'd never studied videography, and I was the first videographer of our maths teacher because we were doing online maths lessons. And so, you know, I was just like learning how to use this very simple camera, and I was kind of going, I think that lighting should be coming from this side, but then I would try it and it didn't look nice, and I'd try something else, and I'm still not good. It's not like I became a videographer after that. It's just for that first year of the startup, we didn't have money to pay someone else, so I had to learn how to do it. So that's my advice on the equipment side of things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
Sure. So who are we picking on next?
Should we see if Patience has any questions for us, or it'd be lovely to meet you.
Still Patience exiting and re-entering the call, so maybe a
Connection
connectivity
issues.
issue. Otherwise, Patience, maybe not aware that you're on mute.
Hello, my name is Patience.
Hi, Patience.
Hi, I'm from Kenya, specifically Nairobi, Nairobi City. Currently, I run a company by the name DM Inc., where I provide basic IT support services from web development to payment integration to network installation, and as well as ICT consultancy. I have a website. So in short, I'm online. But my challenge is how to be visible in the search. But from the training that we had today, one of the key things that I should note is working on the search strategies, either choosing the organic search or the paid one. And something to implement will be email marketing, to install something like a pop-up for a sign-up, so that whenever we have services, we can send email to potential clients. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, if you did, just a question, I'm sure Zoe was about to ask this. Do you have social media pages as well?
Not yet, but for personal use, I have it. For the company, not yet, but I'm planning to create for Facebook and LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really good place to start. So hopefully some of the kind of starting points that Zoe shared will be helpful for you. But in terms of visibility,
yes,
you want to be in as many places as you can manage well. So, you know, I said that you don't need to be everywhere. And Zoe recommended that you start off with Facebook and Instagram. Maybe if you're B2B, Facebook and LinkedIn is a good idea. What do you think, Zoe?
Definitely LinkedIn for B2B business. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Now you're networking. You've got a new client.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely set up your social pages. Make sure you monitor them, and make sure that you know, when you do get queries, that you're good about responding. And with your existing client base, asking them to support your pages, you know, a little bit can go a long way. And we must remember that we exist in a digital and in a physical world. So when you have those face-to-face interactions with people, just having a verbal conversation with them, or when you send their invoice to them, have something that says, follow us on social media. If you're happy with us, leave a review, you know, just ask people to kind of get involved as you're starting out. And then as you get more budget, obviously your visibility, putting budget behind certain brand awareness activities on social media, but then also on search. Start experimenting with a budget that you can then monitor to see if you're getting a good return on investment on it. And you know, again, you don't have to start off huge. It's not like you can't do anything until you can do it perfectly. You can start off with a small amount and practice and learn. And like any sort of business expense, it carries opportunity for reward, and it carries opportunity for risk. So you need to kind of figure out what you have the budget for, and start off slowly, and learn as you go.
Oh yeah, thank you, Kate and
Sure.
Zoe.
Pleasure. Anyone else have any questions or any challenges in their business they want to talk us through?
Can we hear from you, Anne Helen? Anne Helen Hayden. I'd love to know what you do, what industry you work in, and if we can be of any help to you.
Hi there.
Hi.
I work in the telecoms industry at the moment. I'm based in Vienna. And in fact, I do the IT strategy for the entire Hutchison Group for the Oracle financial systems. So in fact, my interest would be from an internal marketing perspective within the CK Hutchison Group, is how would I set up some form of communication plan to reach the people that I'm trying to encourage to move on to the Oracle Financials Cloud.
Okay. And what are you doing currently?
What, with my communication plan?
Yeah, or just your I suppose your marketing in general. So your need is really around internal marketing.
Yes. So in fact, in our organization, I mean, we are part of the telecoms, and they have their own internal marketing, and they have their, you know, their whole marketing strategy external for their products. We're a company within the Hutchison Group that we are, you know, we're doing that to Oracle Financials. It's more an internal consulting role. We actually don't have much of a focus on marketing, probably more of an organic, as you talk about, an organic marketing. I do have my own LinkedIn platform set up, but it's more how would I go about talking to these people to get their interest and to help support them in their journeys to the cloud?
And do you already have their information? So like their email addresses, for example?
Yes, I've got all of that.
Yeah. So I would recommend, you know, a really good communications plan that revolves around emails. Just keep it simple. And I would say, if you can, use tools where it can be automated. So for example, there's a tool called Outreach. And that's something where, you know, the email comes from you, but you can set up a sequence. So you can send out a first, you know, hi there, we met at this conference last year and I'm wondering how you're going with your cloud evolution, whatever. And I found this really interesting article. I wanted to share it with you. That's email number 1. 2 weeks later, you could get another notification or maybe a task reminder, phone the person. So it actually kind of almost maps your internal sales sequence, but it also involves these emails that you can set up in advance. So you're not having to think every day, who do I need to email? Who's on my list? You know, you can plan it and you can monitor it. You can monitor the opens and you can also edit the sequence. So if there's something new that comes up in your industry where you want to add value because, you know, you found an interesting article, you can edit that sequence. So I would really recommend using a communications tool that's a little bit more advanced than your standard email kind of inbox, but is also still personal, because it sounds like yours is very much about your personal brand. And the fact that, you know, you're focusing on your LinkedIn page. And so if it's kind of more effectual to do a one-to-one selling in your case, then as opposed to using something like MailChimp, which is like from your brand to multiple people, I would recommend focusing on that one-to-one approach, but using technology to support your efforts so that you save time, you know, and you can set things up in advance in a bulk manner, but to the receiver, it appears to be an individual kind of communication. Zoe, I don't know if you have any more thoughts on that. It's a bit of a different one.
Yeah, no, it is a bit different, but I think that's perfect. And also just continuing to update your LinkedIn profile as well with all these different changes that are happening, and also just communicating to people when you do these updates, and as Kate said before, you know, asking for people to go and comment and to leave reviews, and just keep communicating. So I think that's great.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Just give me a moment, everyone. Sorry, my laptop's about to die, so obviously my plug point is not working. So Zoe, you want to carry on, and I'll be with you in 1 sec.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Is there anyone else we can chat to? Akala or Judith? Sure if you have any questions. Hi Judith.
Hi. So I'm currently a communications manager for a local NGO in Rwanda, and recently we did run a social impact, 2 different social impact campaigns. The campaigns were clearly visible. People could see, you know, I mean, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, they were visible, but there was lack of engagement. And I previously worked as a digital marketer for an agency, and we used to handle different companies, different social medias for different companies, and it was easy to engage clients, customers, and all that, because usually they came looking for something, or they were interested in a particular product. But here it was quite different because we were running a campaign to create a change in people's, should I say, to change people's minds about several issues.
Okay.
But my issue was there was clearly no engagement, and I just wonder how I can improve next time we run such a campaign.
Yeah. So did you run a paid social campaign, or was this just on your pages?
Paid.
A paid, okay. And what objective did you optimize for when you ran these campaigns?
Pardon?
When you ran these campaigns, what objective did you set them up for? Or did you boost the post?
We did boost.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I think what you could do is when you do go and set up your Facebook Business Manager and create your ad account, is in Ads Manager, if engagement is really important to your business, you're able to set up a campaign that specifically focuses on engagement as the main objective. And I think that will definitely give you the more engagement results that you're looking for. And then I think it's also just important to create copy that asks people to engage or gives people a reason to engage, and the same with the image you're creating as well. So I hope that helps.
Okay. Something else. Sometimes the campaign sort of is a touchy subject. Let's say something about abortion, let's say. Of course, not everyone agrees with abortion and all that. So if you're trying to try to change people's perceptions about abortion and also teach, okay, for example, here in Rwanda, abortion is allowed, but it's limited to people who have been raped and all that. If you report and the police takes up your case and you're allowed to go and have an abortion, of course, several people don't agree with that. They feel like even if you are raped, then you're supposed to keep the pregnancy and all that. And so one of the campaigns we were running, we were trying to reach out to in communities where there are very many rape reports, to let women know if, let's say, you are raped, because if you're raped but you don't have a way to leave your home to go to the police to go and report and go to also to go to the hospital, my organization will be willing to, help you get your transport and all that. So practically the engagement that we got was from people who are against it, but just not from people. We basically wanted engagement from people who actually needed our service. I understand some people maybe were quite shy and all that, but anyway, I think I'm going round in circles. But
No.
We understand.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to say. So I think what's great with targeted reach and with Business Manager, not just boosting posts, is you are able to reach a very specific audience. So if you are just promoting or boosting posts on your page and you're not reaching the people you want to reach, I think definitely try create an ad account and just make sure that you reach the people that you want to reach. And then from a community management perspective, I think there will always be people that will have nasty comments or terrible things to say about your brand. And I think it's just how you respond to those comments and how you manage those comments that also says a lot about your brand. So I think I think as long as you have those processes in place, I think you'll be absolutely fine.
Thank you. Even simple things like only allowing your ads to be served to females in a certain age range. And that's the sort of targeting that Zoe's referring to. There's a lot you can do to make sure it gets seen. At least, you're also then not wasting your money. So when you do some type of boosting, it's going to too many people, and that's wasting your money because it's the wrong audience anyway, besides the sort of nasty trolling kind of side of it. If you can be more limited, you also can save your budget. But just to reiterate and back up what Zoe said, there's no brand that I've worked with that hasn't had horrible people commenting, and they could be selling something like a lawnmower, and people could still be, they're called trolls. It's like it's their full-time job to be nasty online. And it's unfortunate, but it's one of those things that as a community manager, you sort of learn how to weed out. Yeah. Looks like we've run out of time, everyone, but thank you very much, Judith, for those questions. Very engaging. And yeah, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. It was really nice to get to know some of you, and good luck in your future endeavors. There's a big, wide world of options out there, and just be brave and know that you don't have to be perfect to give it a try.
Thanks so much, everyone. Lovely to meet you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.